You also perhaps?
Yep, I can see you. Great. No, well, basically all together. That's perfect.
Yes.
So let's go.
Yes.
Great. So should we start or?
We are ready now.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're going to
Okay.
cut in the beginning. So
Yeah,
I'm
we
going
cut,
to
yeah.
We cut out things. So
Yeah.
the thing there.
I'm going to start with in Swedish and then we go
yeah,
over to
for sure.
English. Idag så har vi på Entreprenörsstaden en jättespännande gäst som jag har lärt känna här under våren. Och det är en expert på internationella relationer som är född och uppvuxen i Taiwan, kan kinesiska eller mandarin och har bott i Kanada och framförallt bott 10 år i Uppsala, och han är expert på entreprenörskap och internationella relationer. Let me introduce you to Pao Kao.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Thomas. This is
Hello,
my pleasure
Pao. Hi.
to be with
Hi,
you.
nice to meet you.
Even with the camera, I'm glad to have this opportunity to talk to you about something interesting.
Yes, Thomas, you don't know that much about Pao, as I introduced him to you. It's the first time you two meet, but Pao, can't you start with telling us a little bit about you and your background?
Yes. So I am a researcher in international business in Uppsala University, and my specialized research focus on how company doing international expansions and under different type of changes in market, changes in industry, change it happens in technology sense. I'm also really interested in cross-culture communications, the difference between different countries, how do you cross that gap, and the different types of opportunity that make entrepreneurship grows in there. From a little quick brief about myself, I am from Taiwan. My parents still live there. I was born there and I was educated until I finished my bachelor's in Taiwan. Then I have 2 master degree from UK. One is in communication, one is in international business. And so then I came to Uppsala in 2008 to start my doctoral studies. And so it's in the Department of Business Studies. I complete my thesis in 2013, went to Canada to teach for 2 years, and then came back to Uppsala 2015 when there is opportunity for me to continue doing research in the department in Uppsala. Yeah, so it's a pretty brief, but hopefully we can continue talking about how those experience moving from place to place help me to look at things differently.
So what I think is very interesting when I listen to you is how do you see entrepreneurship that is different or similar in the different parts of the world?
Thomas, I think this is a great question, because what we see that, if I put in my academic lens, like a doctoral talking, of course there are different type of entrepreneurship, and there are people who do create business, create things because the needs, they have to do that. We see they are immigrants who move to another country, have to start certain business for survival. But we also see a lot of people who have we call entrepreneurial mindsets, and you would like to create certain things that that is something that you think you can bring good value, both for yourself and for the people and for societies. And it can be financial values, you earn a lot of money out of it, or it can be just bring some positive societal benefit to everyone. So I remember when I go through the entrepreneur stuff and Facebook, I saw social entrepreneurship. So there are different type of entrepreneurships in there, and I think we'll find a lot of people would like to do certain things to bring change to our life, and it's an entrepreneurial mindset. And when that bump into a suitable opportunities, something exciting could happen, like what you guys are doing.
I have a question for you. As I know, you haven't been living in China directly for a very long time, but you do have an Asian background.
Yeah.
What would you say is the main differences between the Swedish way of entrepreneurship and culture versus the Chinese culture and entrepreneurship? Are there differences or similarities?
I think by both my study and based my understanding, my understanding is a lot of the nature to want to be an entrepreneur is exactly the same. You want to create some things, and through either create business, create different activities or other things. But how things is going to be created, what's the process of creating that could be quite different. And so, for example, in China, we understand Chinese society is a very relationship-based society. I mean, you depends on who you know, and so and someone you know, and so you rely a lot of those relationships to help you to get resource to get things to start it.
So hold on. So what you're saying now is that relations are more important in China than it is in Sweden or Canada?
Absolutely. I mean, it may have changed, gradually because traditionally, we're thinking about China that, the typical business mindset is you shake a hand and you have oral promise things has been done because the relation is so strong. That's because you're binding by the things you promise to people promise to you. So you have this both favor, or we call about a personal relationship bounding each other. One thing, this is so important is because traditionally, a lot of the regulations, or we talk about the system infrastructure was not there to support. You cannot go to the court at that point of time, and so you have to depend on the basic, the relational, connections. And so I believe, if we're looking at Sweden probably 100 years ago, it might be similar in that sense, and particularly in certain industry, relationships still make much more stronger connection than contract or other things. But if I am someone in Sweden, if I want to be an entrepreneur, create some things, I know there are a clear systems that I can follow. I can create certain things, and my innovation should be developed. It should be protected by the IP laws here, and I can go to the court if someone steals my things. And that is not exactly the same in China. So sometimes you do when you know the system is not there to protect you, you have to rely more on the relationship. Mm-hmm. So I think there is the idea want to create certain things, being entrepreneur is the same, but the process, how to get things done, might be look a bit different, simply because they are different cultures, different stage of the development of societies, or other things.
Is this your experience too, Thomas? You have more experience of.
I don't think I have that experience, of course, that you have. But what I see when I have my 20 years in China, I saw the leadership is so different from.
Yes. Yeah.
But I also see a change there that people go from just saying what they was told until they start to be more creative themselves. Is that also your experience, or?
Thomas, thank you. Your experiences is, pinpoint something really interesting. Like we're talking about leadership. Chinese is a very hierarchical society, so it is a very strong sense of who is leader, who is being lead. So in a company meeting or certain things, so you will hear just only the leader or the boss are talking. You don't hear other people talking, completely different than the meeting we have here talking about consensus in there. So kids are grown up, educated in this conditions. In general, they listen to the teacher and they memorize the things they have to be taught. So they grow up in the sense, in a way, they have to listen what the.
Oh no! What happened?
Society won't be challenges for people when you thinking they can be more different, they can be more create certain things, it can be more entrepreneur.
Now we have a not so good connection here. I don't know what happened. Pao, are you still with us? This is so amazing. We've been doing this for a year.
I lost you, or you lost?
Yes, it looks. I don't know if we or you are having bad connections, but I think we got the most. Now we're back on track. Maybe I said too much.
Can you hear us now, Pao?
I think we might have lost him. Maybe he's coming back. Are you with us?
Oh, yes, I'm back.
Okay. Now, so when we talk about leadership, do you think that's going to change as society are developing? That people will not, so that actually leadership is going to change in China? What is your perspective?
I think so. I mean, and so that's something. I mean, about Uppsala. I mean, we see Chinese students coming here, and we see that they are. I mean, they maybe come from the same. I mean, education. I mean, systems being taught that they should listen. But once they are here, and you see they are actually. I mean, understand they have freedom or flexibility to create certain things, to decide what they want. Mm. And so we see the younger generation of the Chinese moving to other countries to travel, to explore, and bring this idea back to China. Mm. So we see this new generations, they want to do certain things, not just being told what they should do. So we can, see there are so many interesting innovation coming from China. I mean, from WeChat that. Is an ecosystem that allows you to pay bills. I mean, call taxi, hire someone to help you do things, buy certain things. So there are a lot of interesting you see. Coming from these generations.
When you compare the difference in the different world, you can also see difference in Canada, or is it more similar with the Western world, or what is your experience there?
I think this is actually interesting. I mean, something that actually I would like to study a bit more. So I'm talking by my observation living there, and as partially, as academic, I understand why certain studies have been happening. I think the difference for Canada is of immigration societies. Mm-hmm. It has, people really from everywhere. So it is a place that you allow different culture, different heritage, different thinking to clash with each other. And so when we see that, China as in a way that probably are still traditionally want young people to do what other people told them. And if you are in Canada, then you are generally have to decide. You have to decide what you want to do. You may still have some family pressures, particularly a lot of immigration. The family has certain expectation that Chinese family would like the Chinese kids to continue study, and other family may want their kids to do certain things. But you will find a generation that are willing to try to be different. Try to be creative, both the things they would like to do and the career they have. And I see this similar things has happened in Sweden, that particularly we see the younger generation too.
I have a question when it comes to Canada. You mentioned for me, was it 40% that came from China or Asia in Canada?
In certain provinces. For example, if we're talking about British Columbia on the West Coast, and that province has a lot of percentage of general age, Chinese Asian backgrounds in there. So not just from China, they may have from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, or Southeast Asian Chinese, in there. Not every province is the same, but generally in the West Coast, in that part, the Asian background taking a lot of percentage of the populations.
Can you see that in the whole in Canada, that it affects the culture of Canada? It becomes more Asian-like. Is that
interesting? Asian like.
No, but maybe, I mean, it must be it must be having a huge effect though on the whole society, that amount of Asian people in society, or?
Yeah, yes, I think you are right. I mean, in a way that maybe some particular stronger Asian influence can be, I mean, from certain part. For example, we can talking about food cultures. I mean, in the West Coast, you can find all kinds of different type of Asian restaurant. And the people generally grow up, understand this is part of their cultures. And compared to people who live maybe in the middle part of the Canada, and so where that maybe they grew up in a village that is more monocultures in there. So that part you will see the influence coming in the area that has more immigrant bring their cultures in there. There could be other type of popular cultures there too, and
yeah.
Yeah.
But if we leave the big world and and go down to the small Uppsala, and
right.
And now you have experience from this city, what is the benefits and the possibilities for Uppsala you see in entrepreneurship?
I think Uppsala is a great place, and Uppsala has actually changed a lot. I mean, since my first time here, 2008. I mean, if we look at the variety of food, I always like to talk about food, and then you can see the different, type of restaurant, different flavor has continuing popping up in there. And this is people are bringing their culture and they try to do different things, and a lot of the restaurants succeed, and people get to accept this is a part of the thing. I mean, they like to eat, and I think Uppsala. It's blessed in a way that it's a big university here, and there are a lot of percentage of international faculties actually inside Uppsala, and of course we try to, assimilate and understand Swedish culture. We speak some Swedish, but we still have our own heritages in there, and if we're thinking about every year how many international students we bring here, and what are they going to do after they finish? So if they stay, if they see certain things that may work in their country, haven't happened here, or they can want to share some of their creations here, we can see that Uppsala is going to be really a vibrant place. Even, another 10 years, I would think this is would be even more diverse than we are seeing right now.
Has it been hard being an immigrant, an academic immigrant in Uppsala? Is it hard to find friends and get into society and get the network? Or is it easy as you come here as a researcher working at the university? Do we have in Uppsala processes and tools for including academics that comes here?
For me, I'm truly, fortunate. When I started my doctoral studies in 2008, I was probably the only non-Swedish speaking person in the faculties, but there's something about Swedish society. People are really nice and welcoming, and most people speaking great English. Even people may not feel confident about it. They are accommodating. So I don't feel that I have been excluded or not being accepted simply because I'm from another country, I bring another culture, I look differently, and I don't speak Swedish. And I do think it is important for everyone come here to understand Swedish culture and Swedish as well. As part of you want to understand the societies. And so I have a good network inside the departments, and people I share a time, to study, to work with. And so we also gradually know other international researchers here. So through personal network, and sometimes you went to study SFE and you know people from there or as well. But I do found that it's a certain things that I wish, for example, I know Maria, a bit longer before, because I think there is a lot of dynamics going on in Uppsala. People want to do different things. And somehow this part has not been able to allow the international people to tap into, to connect to that. And because, I mean, unless I'm going to search this, I may not aware that what you have been doing and trying to introduce, I mean, talking about entrepreneurship, talking about how Uppsala can be more entrepreneurial and different part of industry. I mean, so I can see there is some work can be done to try to bridge that part and allow, yeah.
I'm trying to understand here. So what you're talking about is that it's too much of silos and not too much. We could improve our connections between different silos. Is that what you're saying?
I probably don't think it's silo. I think, I mean, you have been growing a network of entrepreneurial students just in Uppsala, and I think they are different networks out there, different the class of network out there. Particularly, I'm talking about international researcher or international students or other people sitting there. And somehow we haven't found a way to bring this different cluster of people together, either through events or through some kind of the seminar or hackathons or certain things. We might be able to stimulate to get people to cross those networks. And that will be, I think it will be bring a lot of dynamic and the stimulus to each other.
Do you think that also is a reason that people perhaps going for studying here and then after that they are ready at the university, they leave the city again because they don't get the network, or what do you think needs to be done to get them to stay here?
From my, work as a lecturer in the Department of Business Study, I see a lot of students want to stay. International students, they really want to stay. And so they will try very hard, doing all kinds of training, get to learn Swedish and trying to stay. But how do we get them to stay in a more effective, more entrepreneurial way? Finding things to create rather than they take any kind of jobs to allow them to stay. I think there could be something to be done. To do more to bridge the every year we have so many international students coming here. Can we have a international student and local industry get together, try to encourage them to understand what's happening here, and maybe they will also organize certain things and invite you guys around. I think there are certain things can be explored, can be, encourage them to grow their entrepreneurial mindsets in Uppsala, and that would be a great thing.
Yeah. Maria, do you have some last question about this, because the time is always running?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a final question. I know that you're leaving Sweden to move back to Canada, and that's your plan right now.
Yeah.
And my question is, what are the things that you're going to miss, or what things are you going to bring with you from Uppsala, perspectives or food, or I don't know. Is there anything that you're going to take with you to Canada?
Yeah, there are certain things I really wish I can take with me. I would take Uppsala with me.
No.
We want it still here.
This is. But to be honest, I really like this city. It's so easy to access. I can go around with walk, with bicycle. With bus, and most of the Canadian cities are much larger, and it's more depending on cars. So I would miss out this part of the feeling that you are more intimate link with the city when I'm in Canada. And I will also miss out the feeling that in here, I believe that there is a general feeling that everyone being equal, you encourage everyone to have ability to succeed. And that is slightly different than I would say more competitive feelings you generally get in the North Americas. And so I would greatly miss Uppsala. this move is a bit, right now we call it temporarily, so it's not permanent because it's more a lot of family reasons behind that. But yes.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for taking the time and letting us into interviewing. I'm very thankful for the new technique so that we can have still keep in contact and hopefully you will come back to Uppsala and work here again. Maybe, you never know.
Exactly. I mean, you never know.
Okay.
And Uppsala feels like home. And thank you for this opportunity to talk to you guys.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.